welcome to the WOD Pod. Join me as I sit down with CrossFitters, fitness experts, top coaches, professional athletes, and other well-known gym goers to listen to their journey through fitness. Emma's been competing in CrossFit since 2017, and she's now a regular top contender in the UK CrossFit scene. Emma had a 37th place finish worldwide in the 2024 CrossFit Open and finished 45th in Europe in the quarterfinals, narrowly missing out on the semis. If you've tried WOD Powders Apple Elderflower electrolyte sachets, you'll have seen Emma featured on the design. An epic photo from a rope climb event at the French Throwdown. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'll certainly be following Emma's CrossFit journey over the next few years. Oh, and hopefully she'll be joining a few WOD Powders team events in 2025. Enjoy this one. Emma, thanks very much for joining me. I appreciate you driving down from Scotland, trekking down this morning.
No, all good. Thank you for having me.
I did agree that Emma could stay in my Airbnb. So yeah, a quick shameless plug to Harrogate Apartment Living, providing luxurious holiday apartments in Harrogate since 2020. That's for you, Joe.
It is awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah, glad you like it. I think it's the least I can do. Like, I've driven to Proving Grounds, which is Glasgow, Clash of Clans, which is Perth, and what was the other one? Wod and Loch, which is Loch Lomond. And it's quite a long drive. It's not a hard drive, it's an easy drive, but it's just the time. Yeah, so appreciate you coming down.
All good.
Whereabouts in Scotland, exactly in Scotland, are you from?
So I'm from Fife. So where Clash of the Clans is, I'm about maybe 20, 30 minutes south of that. So in between Dunfermline and Kinross, a little village called Kelly that I live in. So that's where I'm from. You would probably have never heard of it.
Never heard of the village. Is it a small population?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how many, but small, like village, not a town.
Okay. And have you ever competed in Wod on the Loch?
I've not. No. Dates just
Any reasons?
No, dates just kind of haven't lined up.
Okay.
But yeah, it looked awesome. Is it 2 or 3 years it's happened now?
Yeah, so I think it's maybe been 4.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 4.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle's not doing it this year.
Oh, okay. It's not happening this year.
So I think he's just having a bit of break to focus on his gym / family, kids,
it's
everything.
A lot.
So he said it's just a lot of work running a comp, which when you look at everything that goes into it, I imagine it is.
Oh, yeah.
I did the comp. I competed in it last year. It was 7 workouts over 2 days as an individual, which for someone that doesn't train that much was a bit of a wake up. I think the first workout was a strongman event, which strongman events are not really my thing. And it was a heavy log press.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that.
I think I came nearly stone cold last. Right, it was. I think it was like joint 37th. So I was like, I can only improve.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the next workout was the kayak, and I won. So I was like,
nice.
Averages.
Pat Milner.
Yeah, pretty much. Straight back. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good comp. I reckon you should do that one.
It does look good. It does look really good. So I think the work that goes into organising something like that, especially like they have like really, like a log press. What other comp is having like a log press, a kayak across Loch Lomond? Like it's pretty standalone.
Yeah,
so,
it's
it
definitely
really
unique.
Cool. Yeah.
What about Proving Grounds?
Proving Grounds again. So I actually done Proving Grounds years ago with my old boss and pal Chris Brown, who you'll know from Claymore CrossFit, who runs Clash of the Clans.
Yep.
So we done that, but back when they ran it and then they had a break and then they run it as they are now. So this was when it was in the kind of old SEC, I think,
right.
Or I don't know if you were there or were at some of those events, but you're talking that must have been 2018 or 19, something like that.
Okay.
And then the guys, they had a little bit of a break from running Proving Grounds, and then it started back up again. So yeah, I done it once then, and
so
you
kind of did it in the old
format.
Proving Grounds,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think I only got involved with Proving Grounds because Zach Wilde said to me, "I've DJ'd at loads of CrossFit comps throughout the UK. This was the first comp that the spectator tickets sold out.
Yeah,
and people couldn't actually come and watch because it was that full." And he said you had like a 6-7 man deep crowd, which to get at a UK comp is definitely unique. I think like when you've got huge numbers like strength and depth, teams of 12, you can get quite a big crowd because of the amount of people going. But Proving Grounds is pairs.
Yeah.
To get huge volumes of spectators and that hype.
Yeah, in Scotland.
Exactly. Yeah. Even in the UK is unique. So when I heard that, I was like, right, I'm going to get involved, see what the hype's about. And it definitely lived up to expectations.
That's good. I think the I think it's awesome that they're running it again. The last like few years for me have been like solely focused on individual. And I think anything out with that, the dates haven't lined up or it's been too close to other things to make it like feasible for me. So that's like the main reason. But yeah, they look awesome.
Before we come on to CrossFit, have you always been into sport and exercise?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I was very sporty growing up from like a young age, just kind of anything, football, basketball, running, biking, stuff like that. And then when I was about 6 or 7, I actually started doing karate. And I trained and done that up until about 14, 15. And then I started playing basketball at a competitive level for a few years. Done that through kind of the back end of high school into college. And then studied sport and outdoor sport actually at college. And then through the end of that, that's when I started to kind of find CrossFit. So it was kind of end of college, 2016. 2016 is when I started doing CrossFit. But so always sport to some degree before that, yeah.
Most CrossFit athletes are either ex-weightlifters or ex-gymnasts. You're ex-basketball. Like I hadn't done any of the movements or kind of the the different parts of CrossFit going into. When did you actually, or how did you discover CrossFit?
So it was 2016 that I started, and the month, I can't quite remember, but I started when there was an open workout on the go. So whenever they were having, would that have been when they would have had the open in February, maybe? March, something, I can't remember. But an open workout was happening. And I done my induction, and then suddenly I was in this gym and I was like, what's the open? Like, what are they talking about? And like, as a newbie, when somebody tries to explain what the open is to you and you're like, I don't even know what half these movements are yet or whatever. So I remember that. I can't quite remember the workout. I didn't like sign up for it and do it because I was still just going through like literally getting into classes. But it actually came about from a training point of view when I was rock climbing quite a lot. So I was doing like indoor and outdoor rock climbing, and I was kind of an instructor in that. And it was a training style that I just picked up from like different people around me, different rock climbers. Also just the kind of big names in the sport at that time were encompassing some sort of like strength functional stuff. And I was living and working in Perth at the time, and then there was Claymore CrossFit in Perth, so that's the kind of transfer over.
So Claymore was your first introduction to CrossFit.
Yeah.
What were you doing before that in terms of career and? So
I was a sports instructor, specifically a climbing instructor. But before that, I was doing seasons, doing kind of like youth work in the outdoor field, so kind of camps and things like that.
I'm trying to think if climbing would have any benefit to CrossFit.
I mean, Laura Horvath was an ex-climber, so I think she actually still does it. I think so. I think upper body pulling generally.
Yeah, I was more thinking like any direct like translation into specific movements.
I suppose pull-ups, like so that in terms of training before coming to CrossFit, I didn't have any specific like training structure. I would climb, I would run a little bit. Because I like in trails, like on the hills and stuff like that, but I didn't have any specific like program training or anything like that. But I think as a female, if you can go into CrossFit and have like, you know, some strict pull-up capacity, you're doing kind of okay on the rig straight away, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So that I think is probably the big crossover.
I suppose you'd have had the workout, was it in the semis or was it in the games? I think it was in the games where they had to climb across that wooden ledge.
the
yeah.
Oh, when was that? Yeah, when they had it on.
I can't remember whether it was semis or the games. I think it was the games.
I think it was the games. Yeah.
And it humbled a lot of people. Like the ledge was like 2 centimeters. And you were just
like crimping. It's got crimping. So you're like on it like this. Yeah.
You'd have loved that one.
Well. We'll see. I've not done much rock climbing
for a while.
Nah, like literally, I got into CrossFit through that, and then I literally was like, "Oh, this is amazing," and I've climbed a couple of times since.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Prep Kitchen. Prep Kitchen are a meal prep company delivering high protein, super tasty, convenient meals. My favourite at the moment, the the buffalo chicken mac and cheese. Unbelievable. Macros, 45 grams of protein, 506 calories. Can't go wrong. Head over to Prep Kitchen to get yours today. Okay, so we'll start with your functional fitness. So Armstrong Functional Fitness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was the goal to coach because you were doing CrossFit and it lent you to your lifestyle, or what was the purpose, or what was the reason you started with your functional fitness training?
Started training.
Specifically more your coaching, I suppose.
My coaching. So
and the gym.
Yeah. So I went to Claymore CrossFit as like a member in 2016, and it was that classic, like the classic CrossFit meme where you're like addicted to it, like straight away. The classic thing that kind of most people get. It was that for me, and it kind of took over every kind of sport that I was doing was kind of not as good as this. And I was just like, this is amazing. This is what I want to do. So that really led me to almost... I was at a point in my career where I was doing a lot of work that wasn't as stable. I didn't have like a full-time job. I was doing freelance and contracts. It was really that is the kind of way of it in the outdoor sector a lot of the time. You've not really got like a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 sort of thing. But I knew that I loved coaching sports. I was already doing that. And then I got into CrossFit, and then from there Chris, my old boss, kind of steered me in the direction of beginning to coach in classes and things like that. And there hadn't really been a member at that point at the gym who had taken the step into coaching. It was kind of like, it was a relatively new gym as well. Yep. So I was the first kind of person to do that, and I felt really lucky to do that. And just took the experience that I had from coaching in other sports and other people into something that was still relatively new to me, but I could kind of learn a lot about. And the coaches there were great to learn from and build on and things like that. And then, it kind of started out as a, like, I'll take a couple of classes here and there and fit it in with the other job. And basically what happened was, just like in my training, everything else went to the side. Yep. Like everything else in my career went to the side. And then I was like, this ties in great. I can coach people, I can have like steady coaching hours, and turn it into like eventually I turned it into a full-time career. There was a bit of in between where I was trying to juggle everything and be a part-time coach as well. So
at that point you were coaching at Claymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you're not, because you're doing your own.
Yeah.
How long were you coaching at Claymore for? And what was the reason to?
I opened up and started AFF about it'll be coming up 2.5 years ago. So from 2016, I think I started coaching around 2017, like a year and a half later. So I was at Claymore for a long time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, like a long time. And I kind of built up from being a part-time coach, and then I had a full-time role there as well, which was awesome. And the experience that I got there is second to none. Like I don't think there's many other places that I would have been able to really go through the ranks and build up that amount of experience. So I'm really grateful for that. And it kind of just got to a point where I thought about what direction I wanted to go in, and like how am I going to take it further in the way that I want to. So how am I going to take it further while still trying to like train a lot, train at a high level, and balance everything, because you can kind of only do that for so long until something's got to give, like the career's got to give, or the job's got to give, or the training's got to give. And I was trying to just find a way that I could literally do it all.
Yep.
And then it literally just so happened that in the village that I live in, spaces where you can have like a studio or a small gym just don't come up very often at all. But then one did, so I kind of had to just go for it. Yeah, because if you hesitate on it, it's not really going to come up there again, or if it does, it's going to be not the right space. It's not going to be this, it's not going to be that. So it all happened fairly quickly, and I just kind of took the step and just went for it, and then just figured it out as I went, really.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, I was looking at, obviously now your elite career is kind of in full swing.
Yeah.
I was thinking, would it be more of a business move or more of a athlete career move to own your own training facility? Because yes, it's great that you own it for the kind of benefit of you can train when you want, do what you want, but then you've got a lot more that comes with running a business.
Yeah.
But if you're just a coach, you don't have any hassle with the running of a business. You just turn up, coach, train. And I was thinking, like, is it beneficial as a athlete to have your own business?
I think in a lot of ways, yes. In a lot of ways, no. I don't think there's ever gonna, for me personally, I don't think there's that like happy medium on anything. Nor do I think should there be. I think like if you want to excel at something, there kind of has to be that compromise on something. So I think in certain ways, yes, because I can control my diary a lot more, like my personal diary and time a lot more. But the level of stress and the overall commitment to it is very much like, I'm not going to say a detriment to athlete life. It's just another layer, another aspect.
Is AFF online and in person?
Yeah. So I started. It's a small space. It's I'd say more of a studio space where I run small group classes.
Is this the studio where you did your open workouts from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, everything. There's some things that I can't do from there.
So most elite athletes will have seen this space because you'll have been watching Emma's videos when you were like
watching on YouTube or something.
When you were the only one in the top 100 to actually have a video. Like everyone else is at a
Nobody
CrossFit.
else.
I was like,
that's the one. That's
one way
the
to advertise your gym.
Exactly. There you go. You're like, why is there only 3 people in the UK put up this? It's like because it's not an affiliate. That's the gym. So I run small group classes. I run my PT, my personal training from there. And that was when I first started AFF. That was the plan. That was it. I thought that would be the bread and butter to everything. And as time's progressed, I've went more along the lines of online coaching. A lot of various level athletes, like an amazing bunch. And now I'd say it's probably a lot more of my time in business. I'd say it's probably 60-40 or maybe even 70-30 that I do online. So I never thought that would be the case when I started AFF, but I'm really happy with the way things are going and the way that that's actually like panned out. It's been really, really cool. I get it is the best of everything because it's not like class after class after class after class, and it's not sitting at a computer all day. It is it is a super kind of balanced approach.
Is the split between online and in person how you want it to be? How it is now? Or do you want it to be further?
No, I think like the balance of things right now it's hard. It is always hard to like when you're trying to train so much. I think having a job in general, it doesn't matter what it is. I think like it will be hard. I think a lot of the time, kind of like the full-time athlete life, I think it's almost like glamorized. Like a lot of like companies and videos at these kind of, the top athletes, they have to make it like look that way. But it is tough going no matter what. And then if you add a job into that, which 90% of us need and do, I think it's going to be hard no matter what. But I think the split is it's something I'm always trying to refine, but I think it's pretty good.
Did you decide to, I suppose your coaching became kind of before your individual career?
Yeah, definitely.
And then that's now fallen into place. I suppose, like when I look at the top level athletes, not many of them have a 9-to-5 office job.
Yeah.
They're either coaches or gym owners, and I suppose that's because you wouldn't be able to do it otherwise.
I just don't, I think where there's a will, there's a way. So if you really wanted to make that work, like there are people, like there's Emily Rolfe, she's a nurse or she works in a hospital of some kind. That's not a got to be.
It's not a coach.
Right? That's not a coach. But I feel like
I know Anita McCartney. She's doing her full pilot training, and she like trains and then drives like late at night to go and do flying a plane or whatever. And she does a pilot exams, and she's just applied to British Airways. And I'm just like, how are you doing all that and training
it in multiple
times a day?
Yeah, I think. I mean, fair play. Like that is that's just you need to want that, like, or else you wouldn't make it work.
Yeah.
Not at all. But yeah, I don't think there's many people who are going to be the 9 till 5, training in the morning, eating what you need to eat, do what you got to do, and then train at night as well, especially if you've got other commitments in life.
Yeah. This podcast episode is sponsored by WOD Powders. WOD Powders have just released their protein coffee, combining grass-fed bovine collagen with True Star instant coffee, rich, smooth Colombian coffee. Head over to wodpowders.co.uk to get yours today. So, coming on to like how you coach, does being an elite level athlete have positives or negatives to your members?
Yes, both, I would say.
So, okay, positives then. So, out of the people that are at your gym, correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine most are like recreational level.
Yeah.
Just wanting to move, get fitter.
Yeah. Not necessarily competing at all.
Yeah. I suppose they see you as inspiration or like a goal, but is it?
Maybe. I think so.
And I think like, it's hard, isn't it? Because you want to be leading by example.
Yeah.
But then do you then have standards that you expect them to meet?
Yeah, I think it's, I think for me, it's tougher to, for an example, if someone sees the training that I do or the competitions that I do and they then see AFF, I think from an outsider, say they're like just looking on social media, I think that would probably be scary if they didn't, or not scary, they would be apprehensive if they didn't want to compete. They might think, oh my God, like this is the gym or this is the place where people do that.
Yep.
And it couldn't be further from it. Once they're actually in the door, it's easy. Like it's a great bunch of people.
Yep.
Like classes are fun. There's a crossover in the movements that we do and the attention to detail, but there's nothing geared towards that elite level competition. So in classes. So I think once they're in the door, it's the easy part.
Yeah.
It's almost maybe what it looks like. Which I suppose is fairly tough. AFF is great in the sense that it's very much like small group, and that there is only so many members I can have, and it's quite a small close knit bunch. So yeah, once they're in the door, it's easy.
Have you, can you, I guess, put yourself in someone else's shoes who just wants to come and train?
Yeah.
Like, because you're obviously wired now to be training for a goal. A lot of people just want to train with no goal. They just literally want to move to let off some stress or whatever it is. I imagine it's quite hard to do that because you're kind of programmed to be training for a goal. I suppose, how do you manage that? I
think because that's where I started. I think I wasn't, I didn't start out CrossFit thinking, you've got the people who've seen the Games documentary and they're like, oh my God, I want to do that. I didn't start CrossFit and automatically start competing. I didn't start CrossFit and then have those goals. It's really happened really quite gradually for me.
Yeah.
And in a way, and actually in every way, I'm really glad of that, because I've had the experience of going to classes and that being the hour of your day where you're like, boom, this is great. And there not being the competitive structure or the competitive nature, although there's obviously a little bit of competition in classes and things like that.
There always will be, yeah.
But not in the same way. So that's where it started for me, for sure.
Yeah.
So I can definitely I can relate to that and remember that that's when it's so fun.
Do you think you'll get some members that actually transition into wanting to be competitive?
I think so. Yeah, I've already got a few of them enter into some high rocks.
Okay.
So that's happening in Glasgow in March. And yeah, I think I can definitely see that happening over time for sure. In a way, I hope it's in the way that I done it as well, where it's quite a gradual thing, rather than it
Not
being
too
like this
aggressive,
totally,
where they're going, right, next year I want to be in the semis.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you realise how much you're going to have to put into that?
Totally. I can definitely see that happening. Yeah.
I think that's the skill. It's finding the members that want to be pushed and finding the members that don't want to be pushed.
Yeah, totally.
And just learning.
I think that's, as a coach, stuff that it just takes time to learn that and pick up on the vibes and pick up on the feelings. And I think it's super important because it's so fine if you never want to compete ever in your life. It's also awesome if I can help you do like and coach you along that way as well.
Yeah, and someone's goal might not be competing, but their goal might be a PB lift,
exactly, yeah,
which might take years to get. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
totally.
the goal setting's important, but it's the competing side which might not be there for some people.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Okay, let's move on to your athlete career.
Okay.
What was your first major CrossFit competition?
What's major? What is that?
Okay, so I'm saying renal trials is not major.
Okay.
I'd say SID is probably...
Okay.
Turf Games would be like but that's teams. Maybe first major individual.
Right. I would say my first major individual was European Championships. I'm awful with years. Like, I can't comprehend time. So I'm like, I know I started CrossFit in 2016. It was...
Was it before COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
I've done European Championships twice.
Yeah.
And it was when they had two different locations.
I think you might have... So Dan Tai, my friend, he did it in 2019.
Mm-hmm. And that was
his first comp.
In, was it near London?
I think it was Birmingham.
No, so it would have been the year before that then. So 2018.
So
it was near London. This is so bad. Near London. I'm going to say it must have been 2018. And then I done it in 2019 as well.
Right, okay.
So I would say that one was my first major individual competition.
How did you do in both?
I'd have to look back and look at the leaderboard. I tried to get into European Championships the year before, and I didn't. So that would have been like maybe 2017 or something like that. And I'm fairly positive it would have been 2018 that I did. And I remember it feeling like so I'd done like maybe Castle Games, Rainhill, stuff like that.
Yep.
And I remember qualifying for it, and I remember being like, oh, I feel like this is going to be really different. And it was really different. It was a different level altogether. Amy Kringle won it. Lois Smith was on the podium, and I can't remember who else was on the podium that year. But I remember Amy won it both years that I'd done it. But yeah, I remember it feeling different. I remember the vibe being different. I remember the overall caliber of athlete being different. And I qualified fairly low down the first year I qualified for it, but not like maybe like middle to lower middle.
Okay, so you went in with not crazy expectations. Yeah. It was more just like bigger comp, new experience.
Yes.
Let's learn as much as we can.
And I'm fairly positive I came 11th or 12th in the first year that I'd done it. So I was ecstatic. I was like, I had no expectation, no...
At that point, were you still training for fun? Or had it ramped up a bit?
Yeah, it ramped up a bit, yeah. I'd say at that point, I'm fairly positive I was following Proven, like the compete. They'd just not long started their like compete track type thing.
Yeah.
And when I say following it, when I talk about following a program these days, I'm like following it and I'm on it. Then I would have ramped it up and really stuck to it leading up to the competition. But I would have probably still been like following the program, still jumping into some classes, still doing random bits and bobs as well.
Picking a bit you like,
yeah, like a little bit, yeah, totally. So I would have had a little bit more of a structure, but certainly nothing like what I do.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Prep Kitchen. Prep Kitchen are a meal prep company delivering high protein, super tasty, convenient meals. My favourite at the moment, the buffalo chicken mac and cheese, unbelievable. Macros, 45 grams of protein, 506 calories, can't go wrong. Head over to Prep Kitchen to get yours today. Okay, we'll move on to French Throwdown.
Okay.
That was summer 23.
Yep.
What year? A couple of years ago?
Yep.
There's the infamous rope climb picture. Where everyone, I like the comments were just like Armstrong by like Armstrong by name, Armstrong by nature, and then just the good bicep pump.
The bicep.
That is on the front of the sachets.
It is.
Here we go. Ta-da. Yeah, that comp, like, that's pretty big, French Throwdown.
Yeah.
How was that as a experience?
It was awesome. It was. I'm going to say up there with probably one of my favourite competition experiences. It was my first European. It was my first time competing outside the UK. And again, it kind of felt the same as that first step to Euro Champs, in that I was like, oh, okay, this is like another step up. Like, I remember, I've got a really funny story and stressful story about that, actually, about an Airbnb, but I'll come back onto that in a little second. I remember...
I like stressful stories because it'll make my week feel better.
This was really stressful. So yeah, I remember it feeling like really different. I remember going into the check-in, athlete check-in, and it's in this like big velodrome, and I was like, whoa. And there's like a lot, and it was the first comp that I'd been to where you got a lot of free stuff, like free, but you've paid for it kind of thing. Yeah, kind of free, kind of not. And I remember being like, oh my God, I'm getting like outfits and shorts and t-shirts and this and that. And just the experience of getting on a flight, flying somewhere, dealing with the travel rather than kind of a couple hours driving and going into a Premier Inn, and it's like it was a really different experience. And I thought on the lead up to the competition, I thought I would feel like intimidated because there was like Karen Frey and Sola, and there was a lot of big athletes, and they were I'm pretty sure they were in the lead up to the games at that point. It would have been before the games. So they were this was their like trying to kind of peak and like, get everything sorted. And I remember thinking like, oh, this is going to feel like really intimidating. But then I remember it not being like, I remember I just like loved it. It was really, really good. Like the environment was amazing. The competition ran amazingly.
In terms of workouts, was there any that you kind of did way better than you thought at, or any that planning went completely to shit?
There was a lot of the workouts were outside. A lot of it was for me at that point kind of learning how to manage the heat as well. It was really hot for like, I think it got up to like 33 or something like that, the mats and stuff like that. So was... And
actually the athletes from Europe may be used to training in heat.
Yeah.
Training in Scotland.
It's a very different approach. It's very different. I remember like it not feeling that bad though. I remember thinking on the lead up to training, like, oh, I'm going to have to, stay on it with hydration and stay on it with this. And I did. And it was hot, but I mean, some people were really suffering like with the heat. I remember it being hot, but, I don't think it affected me that much. I can remember though, there was a workout and it was inside. It was probably one of the only ones inside the velodrome actually. And it had 2 scores. The first one was, I can't remember the distance, but it was a row. It was 3, 2, 1, go. You went on the row, and let's say it was like 5 to 800 meter row. It was a relatively kind of like short distance, and then you went straight into your workout. And rowing for me is something I would class as like strength, and I almost came off the rower last, and I was like, oh no, like what's happened here? But then I think I came second overall in the workout part of it, which is that one, rope climb. Okay. I had a rope climb towards the bar.
Yeah, we need to know the story of that one. So is that the workout with the rowing in?
That's it. So the buy-in, or not buy-in, part 1 was a row of that. And that was, you were scored on that. I remember feeling fairly confident about my pace on that and thinking the second part is where the kind of higher level girls are going to take over. But it was like literally the opposite. But I remember that feeling of coming off the rower, and I maybe was like 3rd or 4th last in this, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to make up some ground here. So that was probably one of the moments of the weekend where I felt that it kind of went a little bit to shit, but it was only one part of it, and then I kind of brought it back on the next bit.
But in that workout with the rope climbs, you ended up finishing second. Okay, so at least we're using a good photo, good workout, good result.
It was awesome.
You'll have beaten some good athletes in French Throwdown, second place.
There we go.
There'll be somewhere there. I was speaking to Stella at Rainhill, and Stella was saying she wasn't 100% sure, but she was like, I cannot believe that Emma doesn't have a coach. So I've got to ask you, do you have a coach?
I suppose I technically no, but kind of feels like I do. So I follow HWPO Pro.
Okay.
I have done for a couple of years now. So it's not
as a training program.
Yeah, as a program. Yeah.
Generic, just like I suppose it's like JST Red
Yeah,
Pill.
exactly. Yeah.
They just churn out. This is the cycle, building you up to whatever comp you're
Yeah,
doing.
exactly. Yeah. So it's not a personalized program to me, or it's not a personalized coach or anything like that. But it is detailed and it is really well thought out.
Yeah.
It's really well structured, and I think they've got a really good group of coaches. So Stephen Fawcett, he is the kind of head coach, head programmer, head manager of that.
He was at JST, right?
Yes.
And
believe
then moved
so.
to HWP.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So he kind of runs that now. And you do have contact with the coaches. You can have contact with the coaches. They have like an app where you can kind of submit some videos or ask some questions and things like that. So you do get help if you need it. And they helped out loads at Wodapalooza.
Okay.
They had coaches on site there, and they gave you kind of warm up and strategy notes and stuff like that. But it is, it's generic. It's not. It goes out to everybody. So I think it works for me because I know if there's certain areas that I need to work on more.
Highlight it.
It highlights it, and I know how to change stuff up and add it in if I need to.
Are you an athlete that does speak to people or just head down and work?
What, at competitions?
No, as in like checking with your coaches loads, ask them loads of questions, or just get on with it?
Nah, just get on with it. Like if I'm really not sure on something, then yeah, I will. But it's a really good program. Like I have only good things to say about it. It's helped me progress loads.
I would say, I could be wrong here. I'm not doing any programming. I just train for fun and do CrossFit at a low level. So, but I guess my input on a coaching plan would be, I don't think it matters too much what the program is. It's how much you stick to it and how hard you work.
100%.
Like you could have the best program ever, but if you don't hit every session or you don't do it, skip workouts or whatever, you're not going to get the most from it.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I would say there's no secret training program that's going to get you to the games, but
I think like obviously the personalized stuff that people do get, I think is a massive. If they've got a coach that they trust in or a brand that they trust in or whatever, and they can do that, I think then obviously only good things can come of that.
Yeah.
For me, it's just not feasible right now, and I can't see it ever being like money wise. It's a lot if you want to invest in a coach that you really like believe in and can help you. It's a lot, and also I do 100% agree with what you're saying in that there's so many companies and brands out there that give great programming. Like it's not, we've got in the UK alone, there's so many experienced brands and companies that know what they're talking about and can help you through a generic program. If you want to take it that little bit further, you either need a coach to tell you what to do, or what I do is look at stuff that's happened in the past and glaring weaknesses for me, and I'll maybe just change things up slightly. Which is something that the HWP Pro, like they kind of promote you to do that as well, and kind of take a little bit more ownership for your own strengths and weaknesses.
It's just an idea. Maybe you could, like you're a coach. This is your route to getting your individual coach.
Okay.
Find another UK top 100 athlete who is also a coach, and you just
program for each other.
Check in with each other.
Yeah.
Like
do that. Yeah.
Give each other as much time as you can and train.
Yeah, but then what if they're like, she's going to get too good. I'm just going to, just keep rowing. Yeah, just keep rowing.
What happens when you're both in the same comp, next to each other, lane for lane?
Be like, actually, I don't know if I want to help you anymore.
Yeah, there is that. I've not thought through my plan through that far.
Yeah.
This podcast episode is sponsored by WOD Powders. WOD Powders are a functional fitness nutrition brand. Their focus and productivity powder is a nootropic blend. It's called Optimal State, available in 2 flavors. It's designed to improve focus, improve concentration. It has research-backed ingredients, and it's a caffeine-free formula. head over to wodpowders.co.uk to get yours today. Okay, let's come on to the Open 2024.
Okay, the Open.
2023, you were 475th in the world.
At the Open?
In the Open.
Okay.
2024, you were 37th in the world.
Yeah.
Like, big progress.
Yeah.
Crazy progress.
Yeah.
Like, 37th in the world is ridiculous. You were 4th in the UK behind Amy Kringle, who, like, going back to European champs, it's just like...
Yeah, totally.
Forever chasing. But, I mean, you're now 3 spots behind.
Yeah.
Who else was there? Jen and Ella. And, you were in 4th.
Yep.
Did the Open go to, like, how you thought it would? Did it get better? Were you, like, expecting a top rankings?
The Open workouts were great for me. Like, the workouts, I think, the 2024 workouts specifically, they definitely, obviously... It was a lot of, or not a lot of, there was only 3 workouts, but there was the lower skill, gassy, grunt work ones, which are generally ones I do good in. And there was also the technical one, the more technical one with rig gymnastics, which is I would say a strength of mine as well.
Yep.
So I think I do definitely feel like the 2024, like the CrossFit season was definitely the strongest, the fittest, the best kind of shape that I'd been in as well. So I was super happy with placings. I didn't have a place in mind for the Open especially.
Yep.
It was definitely, I geared everything towards peaking and being at my best for the quarterfinals. And it just so happened that the Open went well along the way with that. So
24.2.
Okay.
300 meter row.
Yep.
10 deadlifts. 50 double unders.
Yep.
As many rounds as possible.
How the time again? Was it 20 minutes? 50 minutes?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, yep.
Which, that was long. So I managed just under 7 rounds. You managed over 10.
Yep.
You were 18th in the world.
Yep. I think that was my best place in the Open worldwide, was it? Yeah.
18th in the world. I think it was like 2nd in UK.
Yeah.
5th in Europe, something crazy. So when you saw that workout come up, were you like, this is good?
Yeah. I mean, I never really think when
Too
workouts
much.
come out.
Yeah.
I never really think too much on placings, as in like specific numbers or anything like that. I'll generally feel nervous about all of them.
Yep.
So whether it's the Open, I'm not even thinking like I'm gonna kind of really go fully peak for this and go for it. You still get nervous. I don't know if there's anybody that doesn't.
Yeah.
You still want to think, like, keep yourself composed and stuff like that. Not so much movement wise, and well, I suppose movement wise in that, but for me that time domain is my favorite. Like 15 to 20 minutes, like 15 minutes plus, like the longer the better, really, generally, given experiences from other competitions, training, just in general. 15 minutes plus is probably a time domain that most people hate, and it's usually the one that I like the best. So I thought, okay, this is a longer one. This is I'm think this is going to be okay. This is going to be good.
So when you get to like 50 minutes, and you obviously everyone's dying at that point. Otherwise, you've not like you should be dying in the last 5 minutes of the workout. Totally. Otherwise, you've gone way too easy.
Yeah.
Are you just like, yeah, this is where other people are dying. This is where I'm winning, or I don't know, like because I get to that and I'm like, I want to just walk out this gym.
So in that workout specifically, I remember getting to minute 11 and thinking, I don't know if I've overcooked this or not.
Right.
And then at that point, when I have that thought, I was like, we're past halfway mark, and I know that I can just grind it. Like, I know I can keep this pace now. Because I just practice that sort of thing in training. For me in workouts like that, and I remember at the 11-minute mark, I was holding the same time each round. And the only thing, I wasn't thinking about anything apart from how gutted I was going to feel if I didn't hold that split time each round, because that's the thing that really gets to me.
I'll end back and you just see it
I'll
drop
be like
off.
dropping it down or whatever, or it's taken an extra 10 seconds or whatever. That to me is like that's worse than sitting low on a leaderboard or something. You know what I mean? It's like that internal just
like you gave up on those last few rounds.
Totally.
Yeah.
And generally, if I can get to halfway or just past the halfway mark on whatever it is, and I can hold that pace, I'm like, right, well, you're just going to be annoyed now. You're going to be upset if you don't hold this pace. So that's what I was thinking in that.
Are you doing the Open this year?
I am. I'm going to do the Open this year.
I've just, like, I don't know. I don't really have much. I don't have too many opinions on it, but the amount of people that are kind of boycotting it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I get that it's like the CrossFit Games, they've not been great. But then CrossFit as a whole, if you don't do that, what does CrossFit then just die? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit... It's a crazy one this year. It feels very different, or for me anyway, it feels very different for like so many reasons. Like the structure's obviously totally changed. Everything's changed.
No quarters. Oh no, sorry, no quarters.
No quarters. Yeah, so that's the big thing that's changed for me. It kind of does feel like I don't know, what you hope to be a settling in year, to be like, see what happens and hopefully get a set path.
Yep.
And that's been one thing this year. The thing that's kind of probably affected me most is that for the past 3 years, really, the sole goal in my season was quarterfinals, because I was trying to make it to that next step to make semifinals. And each year I was seeing the progress happen, and I was super happy with the progress. The goalpost changed. It went from top 60 top 70 or 80, or don't quote me on the numbers, qualify.
Something like 80
in the
down
first,
to 40.
yeah. And then I was like, okay, if I just keep working, I'll make it there next year. And then the next year they dropped it 20 spaces. I was like, okay, so if I just keep this trajectory, it's working. And then I finished 45th when they dropped it another 10 spots or whatever.
To 40.
Yeah. So the kind of goalpost kept changing, which was frustrating, but I was still in it. I was like, that's the goal. Like, that's the goal
Finishing
for me.
45th and you've got to be in the top 40.
Yeah.
You're there. Like,
so it was
5 spaces is nothing when you look at the amount of people.
Yeah, in Europe it's stacked. So I was really happy. Like, there was nothing negative to take away from it, apart from, okay, if things just kind of stayed the same numbers wise for a year or two, I would be in, and that was the goal. So it kind of just, it doesn't feel like it. That is kind of ripped away. So the goal that you've been chasing, and the thing that you've been the last like 3 seasons, it's been the thing.
Yep.
And now I'm like, oh, it feels a bit weird. I'm like, oh, that's not even a thing anymore. So that does feel strange going into the season.
But
just
you've got,
not
I suppose now
that.
it's semi-finals. That's like the new.
Yeah, I suppose it's an affiliate, so I suppose it's the same but different. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But yeah, I'm going to do the Open.
Let's go. Let's talk about Wodapalooza.
Okay.
I guess that's been your biggest and favourite comp to date.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was so good. Have you been?
I've never been.
No.
I want to go.
Yeah.
I briefly had a little discussion with Anita about her time, because she was there in a team.
Yeah.
She gave me a little bit of a rundown, but I'm just curious to get your views on the comp, how it went.
The comp was insane.
I mean, first of all, congrats for qualifying into Elite.
It was RX.
Oh, sorry. RX.
Yeah, RX.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It was
I think you were close, weren't you?
Yeah, it was like 4 places.
Were you?
Or 5. I'd have to look back, but it was close. I was top RX.
Yeah.
Just out of Elite.
When you saw that, were you gutted to not make Elite, or were you thinking?
Oh, yeah, honestly, I was. And it wasn't out of. I was gutted, and then I couldn't be gutted. Like, if I looked at the at the leaderboard, you look at it objectively, and you think, this is stacked. Like, it's super. It's almost like a mini games. And to fall short is nothing. I couldn't be mad at it. I was just a little, exactly. I was disheartened, but I'd also tried to qualify for Wodapalooza at least 2 other times, I believe. Yeah, 2 other times, and I didn't, and I'd fallen short to even get into RX. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword, where I was like, okay, I'm going to try and really aim for Elite, and I fell short of that, not by much. But then I was in RX and I'd tried to do that the last couple of years. So I kind of just had to, take it for what it is. And I was just really happy to qualify in any capacity because it was really hard.
This podcast episode is sponsored by WOD Powders. WOD Powders have just released their protein coffee, combining grass-fed bovine collagen with True Star instant coffee, rich, smooth Colombian coffee. Head over to wodpowders.co.uk to get yours today. How was Miami as a whole? Did you get any time outside of competing to like go and do stuff?
Yeah, so we went out. I started competing on the Friday. So I was competing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we travelled out on the Monday. And Monday was a travel day. And then we had the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before it, which was awesome. It was so cool. I've never been to Wodapalooza before, so it used to be at Bayfront, which was downtown Miami. So this was the first time it was in South Beach. So I can't compare it to previous years. Yep. But it was so cool. It was really, really cool. The vibe was just awesome from the start. It's different. Like you're walking and there's basically an affiliate in a tin can on the side of a beach that people just open up and they grab their barbells out, and you've got like they're just sitting doing like proper workouts. And you've got like the bodybuilders over there, and then you got the volleyball players in here. And I was like, it literally, I've not spent much time. I've not done much traveling to America at all, so it felt like what you see in the films. I was like, this is exactly what it looks like and what it feels like. It's got that vibe.
Miami Beach,
yeah. So we had a couple of days beforehand and just dropped into CrossFit Miami Beach and just done some training, just shake off all the travel, and then just chilled. Like we had a really cool apartment really close to South Beach. The weather wasn't amazing to start off with, but it got better. I was wearing like hoodies and jackets at some point, so I was like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I signed up for. But then it got a little bit better. So
did you go to a Miami Heat game?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It was so good. We looked at getting tickets before we left, and it was our last night. Yeah, it was the night before. And we held off getting them in case we were like, oh, I'm just too tired from competing, or maybe it's too rushed or whatever. So we waited, and then it was going to be a risk of, is there going to be tickets left? But then there was, and we got them. And it was amazing. It was so good. Unreal experience.
I need to go.
I don't think there's going to be any place that I go and do a competition that's going to top. I just can't imagine it being better than that. Like you're on the beach, you're doing cool workouts outside. You've got games athletes just waltzing around.
Yep. Even the CrossFit Games, I don't think will have that sort of environment. It won't have the Miami hype and the beach and the.
It was all. I mean, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like at semi-finals when the stakes are really high and people are trying to qualify. I don't know what it's like at the games, but the vibe was very friendly, relaxed, super cool. Really good.
Anita said that the warm-up area was a bit of a shambles.
This is literally probably the only negative thing I could say about the whole competition. It was a shambles.
In what way? I didn't get too much information, but
there was just so many bodies.
Right. Okay.
Like the way that it is organised, it ran absolute clockwork. Like there was not a workout that I was a minute late for, and I assume everybody else was the same. The warm-up area had about 2 bikes and 2 or 3 rowers, a couple of runners, which sounds like a lot, but you've got teams, you've got individual elites, you've got individual RXs, you've got adaptive, you've got the age groups, I think the teenagers and stuff like that as well. There were so many people. It was literally a queue for 10, 15 minutes to get on a machine, which is not ideal, not great.
You've got to then plan your warm-up.
Yeah.
You don't want to plan your warm-up, you want to turn up when you're ready.
And go through it, So just overall space and the kit in the space wasn't ideal. But I think that's literally the only negative thing I could say about it.
What was your favourite workout from the comp?
Favourite has to be the run, the Echo run, box step overs. That was my favourite, I think, one to do. And I knew that was going to be the one that I'd probably enjoy the most before.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably my favourite one. Yeah.
Lived up to your expectations.
Yeah. But I think the one that I'm like happiest with was, and I had really good fun doing it, and it would have been one that I would have been really nervous doing a few seasons ago, was high stakes tightrope, something like that. It's the one with the heavy dubs, handstand walk, handstand push-ups, stuff like that. So.
And that was like went to plan, strategy,
everything? Yeah, like that a few years ago I would have finished last.
Okay.
Like for sure, like I would have finished last on that. With handstand walks have improved a lot, but the chest face and handstand push-ups combined with the handstand walks, I would have most likely finished last or close to last 2-3 seasons ago. So I was really proud on that one.
Yep. Very good. Yeah, what was the judging like?
For me, all my judges were awesome. Okay. I think that I didn't have any bad experiences with the judging at all. To be honest with you, I can't really remember. Like I can't.
That's a good thing because I feel like if you had a bad experience, you would remember
it. Yeah, no, everything as far as I was aware was really clear, really concise. I know I've heard mixed opinions on it and mixed bag on it.
Yeah, a few people have said it wasn't great, but then I was out at the adaptive games in Texas and I was just spectating and the judges were on it. Like, I suppose when you get to that level of comp in America, they're getting people that have done courses on judging. You're not getting volunteers. So you do get a new level of judging. Yeah. So that's good, I suppose.
I can't fault them for me personally. But to be honest with you, I can't recall a time where I think I've had like a bad judging experience, if you know what I mean. Like, I know that...
I think you're doing too many good level comps. Like,
yeah, true.
I've had loads of judging nightmares, but that's because I'm doing the lowest level comps with judges. Some judges have been judging me. I've never done CrossFit before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
but then totally. I can't get annoyed because you're giving up your Sunday to volunteer. Yeah, and now I'm going to try and, get annoyed at you for what?
I feel like I can imagine though, like
the lower the level comp, the lower the level judge.
Yeah.
And then the lower the level athlete is probably doing the movement not quite right.
Yeah.
Combined with the judge, it doesn't quite know what they're doing.
It's just a recipe for disaster. No, I can imagine. I would probably get really. I don't know. I would probably find it really hard to control because then it's out of your hands. That's something that's totally out of your control.
There is that, but then it's like I found myself wanting to question a lot of things, but then I'm like, hang on a minute, this comp's so low level that.
But when you're in it, you're in it. When
sure,
you're in it, you're in it.
And it's frustrating not to win when something goes against you, when it's not fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, it's a fun recreational comp at a low level.
But everybody wants to win.
It's
always a competition.
I think when there's prize money, it's different.
Oh yeah,
but
100%. Yeah.
I've not been at a comp with prize money for a while. Cool. So Wodapalooza, hopefully back next year.
I hope so. Okay. Yeah, it was crazy expensive. The area in general. I think I heard that just South Beach in general in Miami is obviously like just a more expensive area as well. It was crazy expensive, but no regrets. No.
So goals for this year.
Okay. I think so. So quarterfinals last year went really, really well. Like I was super happy. I got injured the week after quarterfinals. I fell off the rig, broke my ankle, snapped ligaments.
Oh wow!
Like literally, so like 10 days after quarterfinals, I was literally just getting back into training last year, which would have been April 24. Yeah, April 24. So
the fact you came 45th was actually a good thing, because if you were 39th,
like literally, so many people have said that to me. Like they were like, "Can you imagine?" It was literally just meant to happen. Like that was just meant to. That's where I was meant to finish. I feel like that is like
written.
And I'm really happy. I'm really proud of that and happy with that. Like I think there was not. I know there wasn't a single kind of workout I could have done any more in, and then that happened, and everybody. I was meant to go to French Throwdown. I'd qualified.
Right. Then they rejigged it, didn't they? Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Oh no. So there was this the quarterfinals, and if you made it, the semifinals was French.
Yeah.
But I also knew that there was a chance that I wasn't going to qualify for semifinals. I was like putting all my eggs in the basket of I'm going to go to France one way or another. I'm going to go as a semi-finalist, or I'm going to go and compete, because I had a really good time 2023 doing it. So I done the online qualifiers and qualified. So I was like, cool, we're going to France. And then that happened and I couldn't go to France.
So the only way you weren't going to France is that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
so that happened, and that put me. It was looking like it was going to be surgery for a little while, but I didn't have to do that, so that's cool. So I've done loads of rehab and got things back up and running. So for a good 4 months, it was okay. I'm just gonna have to see how this pans out and goes. I don't even know if I'm gonna do. I didn't even know if I was gonna do the Wodapalooza like qualifier stuff like that. But things went really really well. And recovered, and now we're here. So I was basically Wodapalooza for me was the first big in-person competition that I've done since French Throwdown, because all the other big competitions that I'd done were like in affiliate or in gym quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So Wodapalooza was the nervy like first time back in person in quite a long time. So this year coming for me, I am going to do the Open. I'm going to hopefully do the in affiliate semi-finals. Yeah, semi-finals.
You said I'm hopefully going to do the semifinals. The correct answer was I'm going to do the semifinals.
You don't like to assume that you're going to qualify to the next. I mean,
I'm confident in you.
I'm confident that I'm going to make it to the semis. I just don't want to sound too confident, cocky.
Okay.
So all going to plan. I will do the semifinals. So that's the plan. But for me this year, I want to get more in competition experience. I feel like there's been a lot. The last 3 years has really been geared towards doing the quarterfinals, and that's been great, but it's so different in your own gym where you're every single day. I drop in, I go back to Claymore to do some of them. I also go to Strength Lab as well, just because AFF is really limited kit wise and space wise. But it's really different being there compared to that feeling like that I got in Miami. So I've kind of realized that I've missed that so much, and I've been so geared towards, for a good reason, quarterfinals.
Yep.
But with that not being a thing this year, my hopes are through the season to do some more in-person competitions. Yep. So
sounds good.
The plan is right now to go for the BF3 British Functional Fitness online. The qualifiers are happening right now. I really need to get my
submissions in.
I really need to do them. It's getting close to the submissions on them, so I'll do them and kind of see that out, because they have multiple stages, and it's just quite interesting to take a little bit of a different approach to it. I know they've got it's relatively new to me, the whole system, the international functional fitness things like that. So plan is to do that, and then potentially, dependent on time, funds, all that sort of stuff, Marbella Championships later on in the year as well. So I am gonna do the Open, and I am gonna do the in affiliate semis. They're not necessarily going to be the big overarching goal for the season this year. Just want to see how the structure pans out, and then have a little bit of a more off-season development approach where I can actually take you need it, you need to take time to actually work on the stuff you need to work on. It comes around so quick. You're like, oh, I've got a year until the next quarterfinals, and then you're like, oh my god, it's the Open. And at the
same time, I guess you're putting all your hard work into the Open and the quarterfinals, and you see the results from doing that. But it's also quite nice throughout the year to see your progress doing other comps.
Exactly.
And a reminder as why you're training so hard.
Exactly.
So, even doing proving grounds with, as a pairs for fun.
Yeah.
But when you then finish fourth or whatever it is
in a stack leaderboard,
you think, my training's paying off, whatever it might be, or you win, or whatever it is.
Definitely.
I think it's good to keep. Coaches probably say don't do loads of comps because it's taking away from your training. Mm-hmm. You peak for a comp, but even to do it just for fun, to see where you're at, gives you that buzz, that reminders why you're training as hard as you are.
100%. I think it's quite easy to overdo it in terms of the competitions that you do in a year, but I almost feel like the last couple of years I've underdid it to solely focus on quarters, and I don't regret it at all. It is hard, like you're saying, to really dig in and peak for something that isn't a gym. It's just kind of different, but that was just what I wanted to do, so that was it. So this year it's a bit of it's a weird one. I've not really. It does feel quite nice to not have that singular thing. Maybe next season will be completely different. Just see how the whole CrossFit world.
What I got from that was semi-finals, win Marbella Champs, British Functional Fitness, and win Proving Grounds.
Okay,
Done.
cool.
We're going to play a little game of wrong answers only.
Oh, God, okay.
So, obviously, you cannot answer with a wrong answer.
Wrong answers only, okay.
I don't even know if I've got the right set.
Wrong answers only.
There we go.
I'm going to be so bad at it.
Okay, quite quick so we get some good answers.
Okay.
Name something that you eat immediately after a workout.
Potatoes. Not wrong.
What's your dog's name?
Shane.
Name a CrossFit competition that you competed in.
Marbella Champs.
Name a snack that goes well with cheese.
Beans.
Why do police cars have sirens?
To look nice.
Who is Noah Olsen?
I've crumbled. I've crumbled. Women.
A woman. Which sports did you go out and watch when you were in Miami?
Baseball.
And what is the CrossFit Open?
I don't know. That is the right answer, actually, so that's wrong.
No, well, yeah. I'll give you it. Done.
Okay.
That was good. No, you got through it.
Okay.
We're over.
Nervous.
Going to finish with some news. We've some. I did put them on here somewhere. I don't know which one it is. Little sound effects. We're up in the production.
Okay.
We didn't have this in series 2. So latest news: WOD Powders are going to be heading to Nuclear Fit, which is a hybrid fitness race in July on the 19th. So free electrolytes for all competitors. So they'll be getting one of these.
Nice.
No doubt. Yeah, let me know I don't know if you want to do that for fun.
Where is it?
It's actually, well, it's a complete trek for you. It's down in Essex. So it's
Essex. Oh, that is Essex is where the first Euro Champs was. You've reminded me of the name.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one I done.
Okay. So it's there. It's basically, they have like obstacle racing. But they're now doing a high rock style race, but it's outdoor. So it's like high rocks, but outdoor.
Right.
So it's got CrossFit movements. I think it was like 800 meters or kilometer runs, that sort of thing. But yeah, should be quite a fun day.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I mean, there's going to be like 700-800 people competing.
Oh, wow.
So should be busy. And then also protein coffee. We've just launched our brand new protein coffee, 70% protein, 8 grams of protein per coffee. All I can say is get a tub ordered.
Definitely.
There you go. Wodpowders.co.uk. I'm going to end with a random fact of the day, unless you've got one. I should have actually. I was going to message you to prepare one,
Haven't
but
a clue.
no. So the British public drink over 100 million cups of tea per day. Good fact.
Well, that's a lot.
Emma, where can people find you? Social media and also AFF.
Yeah, so Instagram is at a really original name, at Emma Armstrong _. And it is Armstrong at Armstrong Functional Fitness on Instagram. We're there on Facebook, but Instagram is the...
And then if people are in the area around Scotland and can drop in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got open gym. Come drop in. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
You could even go and do your open in the infamous open gym.
I didn't realise that so many people had watched that video.
I bet your YouTube.
I'm going to go and watch and see how many views that's got on YouTube.
I bet you've got quite a few because like people, when they do the open workout, they want to then get tactics off top athletes. If you put your score submission in, like when I was looking at doing the open workout, I was then going back and looking at some of the athletes that had already done it.
Right, okay.
To see how the strategy, how they timed it, like did they break up double unders, whatever. So I think because you're up there, you'll have come up quite high.
Yeah.
I think you'll have quite a good number of views.
It is really funny that because that was the year where if you done it in an affiliate, no matter what your level was, you didn't need to put in a video.
That's
crazy.
So no, I mean,
that's crazy.
So a girl called Charlotte Haydock, who's a WOD athlete, she submitted her score wrong.
I didn't tell you that score either. That story.
What?
2 years in a trot, I submitted my scores wrong on quarterfinal workouts.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Well, Charlotte submitted her score wrong, but to make her like 10th in the world.
All right. Oh, I don't know.
So she did it like she put, instead of like 6 round 17, she put 17 round 6 or something like that.
She's like, oh my God.
And she was like, oh, this is really awkward. She came 10th, and then the other 2 workouts were like, I don't know, her normal level.
Yeah.
And then she came like 200 in the world. And
Nightmare.
because she didn't have a video submit, submitted,
that was just it.
That was just it.
That was it.
And she was just like, oh well,
take it.
I guess I came
Look at me.
200th in the world. But I was like, that's the problem with it. You can just submit anything.
Exactly, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens this year, because there's like the in-affiliate, the semis, confused. The semis is in affiliate with a CrossFit level 1, with a judges course, with an advanced judges course.
Get strict, but see what happens.
We need to find people who are willing to do that.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's a lot to tie in all that in a non-affiliate gym.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh, well, Chris will have his work cut out at Claymore.
Man, like...
Give him some bit of notice.
Yeah, totally.
Right, Chris, you've got to recruit these people.
And as well, if it's only one person per gym, it's like they're going to do all the judging. It's like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, but...
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Plug your Instagrams, and just going to get a few photos for WOD Powders.
Great,
and
thank you so much
thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, Emma.
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed that episode, and a huge thank you for listening. Make sure you're following the pod on Instagram. The podcast is sponsored by WOD Powders. That's at WOD Powders on Instagram. Please show some support to the pod by either sharing this episode with a mate or buying some supplements from wodpowders.co.uk. See you guys next week.